Hello everyone. My last video on RFK Jr. and Rachel Levine was removed because I was careless about my use of language. So I will have to be more careful this time, especially given the subject matter of this video. Today I want to examine the claim made by Tucker Carlson during a conversation he had with Glenn Greenwald on the Tucker Carlson show. So Tucker suggests that US intelligence agencies are blackmailing certain Republican politicians because they have access to their histories of browsing adult content. It's a provocative idea, I think, and it's worth unpacking, so let's take a look at the clip.
A long-time Intel official told me, not that long ago, I guess I should have known this, that the big pornography sites are controlled by the Intel agencies. They have access to the data on those sites. And the reason that they do, and I think the dating sites too, and the reason that they do, of course, is blackmail. And once you realize that like the most embarrassing features of your personal life are known by people who want to control you, then you're controlled. And you look at the behavior of some of these people who I know personally, and particularly in the Congress, you're like, why are you doing that? You don't agree with that.
So I think the first thing to note here is that it's absolutely possible to do this from a technical perspective. Agencies like the NSA monitor internet traffic, and they can collect information from internet service providers or packet sniffing or other types of methods, assuming, of course, that the person in question is not using a VPN or some type of software like the Tor browser. And just given my own personal experience with working with Americans in the private sector who are in the relevant age range for as that's the same as these Republican politicians in question, I would guess that their general OPSEC habits are quite bad. So there's that. There is, of course, no need for the CIA or the FBI to actively get involved and cooperate with adult entertainment companies like MindGeek to fetch profile information and user data from their databases, considering that most adults don't even create these profiles to begin with. I think you'd be much better off just basically getting the search history or the browsing history simply from IP addresses or tied to specific devices. So there's also no evidence that I could find for the CIA or FBI actually collaborating with these types of companies. But something comparable has happened in recent history. In 2018, there was a wave of so-called sextortion scams. So a sextortion scam, or sextortion, is a phishing attack or a sort of email attack whereby the attacker is trying to coerce the victim into paying a ransom, typically in cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Monero, because they are threatening them or claiming that they have compromising material, which is usually webcam footage of the victim pleasuring themselves while they watch adult content on their PC. Assuming, of course, that they've gotten some virus on their computer that allows them to control their webcam and so on. So if you've watched the dystopian science fiction series Black Mirror, you might recognize this from the plot of the episode 3, season 3, Shut Up and Dance, where the young male protagonist is blackmailed into doing various criminal acts by the evil hacker villain. So I think in 99.9% of the cases, there's nothing actually behind these extortion attacks. It's mostly in the head of the victim. And the attack will be more effective if they're able to include some details about the victim that they could maybe scrape from some other websites. So if you do some prep work, I think you're more likely to succeed. Of course, in most cases, like with most of these scams, they do not succeed. And you have to think about it, especially the psychological profile of a person who falls for something like this, where you have to have a high amount of neuroticism, a low amount of technological literacy, but still enough technological literacy to actually pay someone with cryptocurrency. But again, they're still able to make money of this because of the massive volume of emails that they send out. So the technical side, I would say yes, it is possible, but there is another ingredient to this type of blackmail or extortion that needs to be present for it to work, and that is shame. It is implied here because Tucker is not implying that they're doing something illegal, just that they're doing something embarrassing. And if you're going to extort somebody with the threat of embarrassment, these people have to have shame. And this is where I feel like the whole thing falls apart, because there is simply no shame at all in the modern Republican Party, and I think in American politics in general in the year 2024. This is something we can see quite clearly in the case of Mark Robinson. So Mark Robinson was endorsed by now President-elect Donald Trump in the gubernatorial race against Democrat Josh Stein in North Carolina. The mainstream media was able to dig up Robinson's explicit content history from between 2008 and 2012, when he frequented the erotic message board Nude Africa under the nickname Mini Soldier, which shared email and contact information with other public accounts that he uses. So again, very poor OPSEC. On the Nude Africa message board, he frequented trans pornography, and this is in spite being a very sort of anti-trans, traditional conservative politician. He was talking about putting black people back into slavery in spite of being black himself. There's so much embarrassing stuff in his history on that site that I would have had trouble making it up, to be honest. So when he was confronted with this evidence, he just blankly denied all of it. He lost the gubernatorial race, but he did not lose Donald Trump's endorsement, and he did not fall out of favor with MAGA in general. So this really seems to have no effect in any measurable way. So the question is why Tucker believes that this would work, especially considering that the Tucker show and Tucker himself and his community are some of the most shameless people, I think, in media currently. Tucker recently shared a story about how he was molested by a sleep demon.
Nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled. Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon.
And his guest on the show, Glenn Greenwald, is openly gay. And before he started doing independent journalism, he was the co-owner of a company in Brazil called Master Notions LLC. This company was responsible for hosting websites like riogaydudes.com and riomaleescorts.com. So I guess you could just make a wild guess as to the nature of that business. And this is an open secret, it's not disputed, and none of these facts has excluded him from being taken seriously by American conservatives, from being invited onto American conservative podcasts. So I find it very hard to believe that you could use embarrassing porn search history to make American congressmen change their votes in 2024. So it really is much more about, I think, Tucker's general worldview that he's crafting on this show that is starting to resemble something out of a bad erotic novel, where all of foreign and domestic politics is determined by aliens, demons, or sex scandals, and literally nothing else. So I think in the future I might do more videos focusing on the Freudian Tuckerverse erotica. But I think that's enough for today. So if you made it this far, consider leaving a like or a comment, and I thank you for watching.